there is not the infinity anymore. So it's, you know, there is a real shift between the Leibnizian supposed to be determinism and the determinism of Laplace. In fact, it's quite the opposite in a way, because and Hilbert is on the Laplace side,
Absolutely.
while you are on the Leibniz side, I think.
Yes. Well, there's also a problem that actually languages don't stand still. A perfect language would be finished, whereas actually languages develop, and presumably God's language also, you know, God will summon new language into being to use it. If you look at real human languages, they change all the time. You know, I learned my English in the United States in the 1950s. I've noticed that lately the language has changed quite a bit. If I look at YouTube and see what people are saying, you know, it's a very unfamiliar language to me. And also, if you look at computer programming languages, they're constantly changing, which is one of the problems about, and new languages are appearing. And that's one of the problems if you have software that you particularly like. You have to keep rewriting it in newer languages. Otherwise, it dies because the language it's in gets...
So there is an organic growth and an organic life of language, like that you say.
Yes. Now, if we're going to make language the absolute, I don't know, ontological basis for everything, the absolute perfect language, there's the problem that that would be...
It's a little bit what we have in information theory.
Well, information theory escapes this problem of the fact that languages change because it doesn't have semantics. It's just 0 and 1. It's syntax. It could be anything, you know. So it's pure information, but you don't talk about the meaning of the information. You can change that as you go along. So zeros and ones would still be used to represent some new language which humanity may create in the future that doesn't exist yet. You know,
it's interesting because, you know, it's exactly the definition of structuralism in anthropology with Levi Strauss, because when we say structuralism, doesn't mean that, because it will be too simple, I mean, too obvious to say, structuralism. I'll very often ask my students, what is structuralism? But don't tell me it's just like the word as structures, because it's something else, because we know before structuralism that the word as structure. Structuralism, at the very basis, in linguistic and in anthropology, that just means that at the end of the day, when you reduce everything, it is just binary. There is what is just left in binary, like big, small, white, black, you know, and all these kind of things, outside, inside. And when you have that, you can construct an entire world with all its complexity. You don't need something else. And it's the idea of structuralism, actually. It's just that at the end of the day, all the meanings that are constructed, they are constructed out of these things. It's like information theory.
So it's an analysis of human languages, of all possible human languages. Is that what structure is?
Yeah, exactly. And so after there was like what is called generative structuralism or generative grammar. It's Chomsky. And it is not Saussure. Saussure, the linguist, Saussure is like pure structuralism, just the way I described it. And Chomsky is generative structuralism or generative grammar, where he says, in fact, it looks like it's binary, but it's just, as we could say, I could translate it, it doesn't say that, but in fact, those binary things are just polarities, where like something, it is never completely black, never completely white, but you need to feel that it's on one side, on the other side to express something. And in fact, all languages are constructing a new grammar with those tendencies. And it's not only that it's built mechanically with the combinations, but the combination itself are making themselves evolving just when you are talking. So instance, you are saying it's black, and the other guy is understanding it's black, but for him, black has a different meaning that is around his culture, da 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 da. And so he's answering something to you that redefine it a little bit. You don't really understand at first, but it redefines your understanding of what is black, etc., etc. And so it's called generative grammar. So, you know, and so that means the grammar never exists as something that is
Fixed.
fixed. It is fixed just for the use of simplifying your view of the world and being able to say, oh, that's right, that's wrong, because otherwise we feel completely lost. But if we are in the real thing, grammar is always itself hybridating with other systems, because it's always, again, a question of openness that is constructing, you know? And so I will say that this dream of creating a synthetic, totally pure language is kind of a psychic regression, psychoanalytical regression into, you know, when somebody wants everything to be simple, he wants to be a child again. He wants to come back to the womb because everything is simple.
But we need to communicate. We need languages.
Yeah.
We need them.
But what I mean is to want the simple thing at the end of the day, there is nothing to express anymore, because everything is about the nuance. Everything is in the detail of the nuance. And if you want to generalize, and at the end you say, I want to generalize, but in fact, you generalize afterwards. But if you want to generalize a priori, it's like something quite weird, because that means that you want to you will say that everything that is nuanced is actually false because it doesn't say the truth. Well, I think the other way around. Only the nuances are actually true. And when,
yeah,
you know,
I think no finite you know, you ask what is an apple or what is your wife. No finite description does justice to reality. It's always a simplification.
it's
right?
always a cognitive way to make it useful in order to go from one place to another. It's like perception. We know that we can't perceive everything at once. We feel things, so our brain is not actually absorbing things, is actually selecting things. So it's actually making them go away to be able to focus on something specific. And what does science? Focus. Objectivity is a focus. Nothing else than a focus. In order to be useful for us to do something. But when you are opening the windows on another way, like the contemplative way, what you're actually doing, I'm feeling, but maybe I'm completely wrong because I'm not you, but in the course of your career, I'm feeling that you started like in IBM and all that, believing in mathematics, being very creative and all that, and just trying to find, in a way, you were maybe grabbed into these pure mathematics, closeness, etc. And step by step, you open yourself. And it's this opening that makes you create the omega number that is more real, but less useful in a narrow way, in the objective way. So you went from the narrow way to understand language only into this usefulness and objective and narrow way, which is necessary at a certain point to build technology and all that, to something that is more fundamental, but less useful in the common sense of technology, but to open the window of something that is beyond even the differences between objectivity and subjectivity. And so it's at that time that you reached, like, through infinite knowledge, the knowledge of infinity, because it's actually that, the omega number. Don't you think?
That's beautiful. It sounds like a good way to end.
Yes, it could be a way to end, but of course never ending, because as we both know, it's the infinite dialogue.
Right. Correct.
So thank you, Gregory. I'm sorry that I've been a little bit too talkative at the end.
No. That's the idea is we try to stimulate each other, right?
Yes.
Throw out ideas and see.
That actually works. For me, that works.
Yeah, no, it works for me too. I actually prefer dialogues or interviews to flat lectures, for example. I think they're more interesting. I don't know.
Do you know what? It's
Plato.
And again, it's because even the very basis of your thought, of your philosophy, what you could call your philosophy of mathematics, is anything but flat.
Yeah, I mean, Plato presents all points of view. People think that he thinks that Socrates, he actually believes what Socrates' point of view. That may be the case, but still, it's good theater because all the other points of view are also expressed, and the reader doesn't have to go away always saying, oh, Socrates is right, these other people are all wrong. The other people also said interesting things. What is this business? Niels Bohr makes this remark that there are simple truths and deep truths. A simple truth has the property that its opposite is obviously false. So, I don't know. 2 + 2 is equal to 4 is a simple truth because
binary knowledge.
The 2 + 2 is not 4 is right. But if you look at a deep truth, I don't know what example he gave. Love is power or something. There's a sense in which it is, and there's a sense in which it isn't. When you get to deep truths,
things are mixed up.
Yeah, the opposite.
Infinity.
Yeah, exactly. But language has to simplify so that we can communicate with each other.
Yes.
Because reality is infinitely complicated, and language has to be
cognitive usefulness, cognitive objectives.
Yes. So it's a necessary tool of thought, language. But there is no perfect language.
So there is a journey. There is I will say, an infinite journey between what is necessary and we need to simplify in order to communicate, in order to go somewhere specific, to be in time at an appointment and all that, but not losing the other part, like the windows to infinity, that is actually the real, and going, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If we lose part of it, and we are all only in the knowledge of the infinite, we lose the practical necessity of everyday life. But if we lose the knowledge of the infinite, we just crumble into neurosis, negativity.
We flatten.
Flatten, yeah.
The infinite possibilities of the divine, the world which is intrinsically divine, becomes totally flat.
Yes.
And infertile.
Exactly. Thank you.
Which is sad.
Thank you, Gregory. That was great. That was great. I hope we will continue that. To be continued.
To be continued.